All right, let's spin our Mora Wether lamb. So we'll start with our roving. I'm going to spin S, Ply Z. So we're going to charge our leader so our twist doesn't escape into our leader. We want it to stay where we put it, darn it all. All right, worsted join. So we'll pull it from the side, let it catch the twist, and off we go. Or not. See, no life is perfect. No spin is perfect. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are professionals out there who are, but for us who just enjoy it, not so much. So I'm going to just tie this into a loop. I know some people who never use loops, and then there's people like me who prefer to always use loops, but it's personal preference, guys. Either one is valid. Okay, now I got a little too much uptake. All right, let's spin some worsted coned top. This is a very interesting fiber. It's got a lot of the BFL traits in looks, but in feel, it's very different. It's got like a bit more tooth than a regular BFL, so like it's a little more grippy. But it does draft beautifully. And it is spinning up rather nice. Let's do a Ply Back sample. So here is our Ply Back sample. That's quite lovely. I like the amount of twist, so I'm not going to change anything about that. Now, if you make a pigtail and it doesn't want to come out, just grab the end of the pigtail and give it a little snap, and that should release it. Sometimes you have to keep the pigtail under pressure, the end of it, to get it to unwind, but absolutely it comes out. So this probably isn't going to make any sense, but this breed, this blend of breeds, feels a little more woolly than just straight BFL, if that makes any sense at all. It is lovely though. I'm quite enjoying this. All right, I want to make this a little faster, so I'm going to just up my twist, up my uptake. Right, there's a little bit of veggie matter. I'm going to pluck that out before I come to it, so it's not going to make us scratchy in my yarn. Frankly, I find it amazing how much yardage you can get of just a little bit of fleece that you've processed up. Sampling really doesn't take that much fiber or that much time to do, and it's something I should do more often, which is basically what I've been doing for this YouTube channel. So it gives us a better idea of how each individual fleece is going to react, because even across the same breed, each fleece is going to behave differently because it's come off a different animal. And while they do have traits in common, they are not the same sheep. All right. And then we're going to throw a bit of blue in there just to designate when we change preps. And we're going to switch to row legs. I just needed a sip of coffee. All right, let's go. Just gonna get this started. There we go. And now we're gonna draft. Oh, this just drafts lovely in a row leg. It does want to come down fairly thin though. So the trick to making something that wants to be thin a little thicker is to draft more slowly. Let it grab more of that fiber before you draft back to make a thicker yarn. All right, let's do a ply back on this. And there's the ply back of our roll eggs. You can see I'm very inconsistent as usual, although today seems to be a really horrible spinning day. Picked the wrong day to film all these videos. But it is looking lovely. I do like the amount of twist, so we shall continue with this. There we go. I'm going to double draft this out just a smidge. There we go. That's better. All right. This bobbin is, it needs to be re-glued. It's starting to come loose at the ends, which is why it's making all these strange noises. I need to do a spa day for my bobbins. They're so expensive, you don't want to just keep using them until they fly into pieces. With a little bit of occasional love, care, and glue, you can make them last a lot longer. Okay, right here I have some VM. I'm going to stop and pick that out before it gets too caught up in the twist, so then I can't get it out and it makes itchiness in my wool. But honestly, this fleece has been really clean. I'm not worried about a couple little chunks of hay. All right, I'm going to switch preps again. So we're going to spin in some blue just to designate change in prep. And next we have our flicked locks. So we're going to spin from the butt. I said butt again. All right. Hold on. Something under my treadle. All right. Here we go. Oh no! I started going in the wrong direction and I unspun my wool. Let's try this again, only this time we're going to spin in the right direction. All right. This does want to spin thin. I don't want it to thin spin, yeah. I don't want it to spin thin. I just blew a chunk of veggie matter out of the fleece. Okay, it's not bad spinning from the flicked locks. Let's see how it looks in a Ply Back sample. Now, normally I wouldn't like do ply backs this often, but because we're changing preps every time, different preps can use different twists, all that fun stuff. So we're just checking to see how it's doing. So there's the ply back on our spun from flicked locks. It's making a very nice worsted yarn. I don't want to add any more twists than that. I think that's plenty. And it is turning out quite pretty. I imagine it would have a bit of the sheen of the BFL if we dyed it, because it is showing up here in just the natural color. So that's our flicked locks. Now we just need to grab a little bit more blue to indicate the end of one prep and the start of another. I'm telling you, I'm giving up after this one. I cannot spin any more today. I say that. I'll probably take a break and come right back to it because, you know, I just love it. Oh, stop it. I may have to give up now because this is just not going well. I only have one more prep. One more prep to spin on this one. I can do it. I can do it. This is why I don't generally do marathon filming sessions, but this is my third video today that I'm starting. Of course, I can only do so much because then I have to do like wet sets and swatches and stuff. But as far as the spinning part goes, this is my third video today. All right, so here is our final prep. This is just picked locks. So we're going to spin from the cloud. So first, I'm going to try just doing just a normal spin from the locks. I suspect very quickly I'm going to change to core spun though. Oh, actually it's not too bad from the cloud. But I think what I want to do is do a coreless core spin on this. So get a little bit of fiber in your right hand. That's going to become your core. A little bit of fiber in your right hand. That's going to become your wrap. So start spinning, latch that on, then you can draft out your left hand to make your core, and then wrap your right side around it. Hold on. I'm going to have to really increase my uptake to be able to do this. All right, there we go. So you can see I'm making the core or the single and wrapping it at the same time with the fiber in my right hand. This is one of my favorite methods of spinning. Now, normally you could just do this as a single and call it wolf yarn, I think is what it was originally dubbed. But what I love to do is take this yarn and then 2-ply it or chain ply it, and it makes such a fluffy texture yarn like you would not believe. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, you don't have to make it thick. You can spin this, like you can make your core super fine and then make your wrap. Hold on, I just gotta wind a little bit by hand here. And then make your wrap uber tight, so you end up with a thinner yarn. But we all know me, I like chaos and texture, so you know I'm not going to do that much. All right, oh, there's a little piece of veggie matter. I'm going to pluck that out while I see it. And we're going to finish off with some blue. And we will change bobbins and we will chain ply that and see what we get. So we spun our singles S or counterclockwise. We need to ply Z or clockwise. Charge up our leader. Now, because we are chain plying, I don't want to add too much twist. So we'll lower our twist per inch, use a bigger whirl, and increase our uptake, because I like a nice firm uptake when I chain ply, but you do you, whatever works for you. All right. And make our slip knot, and we are ready to roll. So first we have our picked locks. Now this I will probably have to hand wrap on because it's going to be very thick and fuzzy, which is how I love it. So just before I hand wrap it, I'll let you have a look at that. When you chain ply this, it makes this amazing, floofy, textured, warm yarn. But if you do spin thin, you still get this textured, thick yarn, but it's a little easier to get through your orifice and to use. But far be it from me to shy away from thick and textured. Never happen. So there you can see there, just a regular spin from picked locks, and it is a pretty textured yarn. All right, that's prep number 1. We've come to our blue, so we know we are changing preps. So that was picked. These are flicked locks. All right, let's have a look at this. So you can see it is making a lovely worsted yarn. Should have a little more twist. You can see the knot here where I pulled my chain through, that should fade into the yarn. So I am not getting quite enough twist in this. So I will slow down and add a little more twist. All right, so that was our flipped locks. Now we're changing preps, and this is going to be Rolex. You know, for Rolex, these spun pretty even. All right, let's have a look at this. Okay, so I've over twisted a bit. That'll probably come out in the wash. I actually like the way it looks from Rolex. The fluffiness, the airiness of the yarn kind of fills it out and makes it a little poofier. But it still has some definition. I kind of like that. So far, Rolex are winning, but we do have one more prep. All right, that's our Rolex. Now we've hit blue, which lets us know we're changing preps, and this is going to be our hand-combed top. Now, based on what happened with the flip locks, I'm going to add a little bit of extra twist to this. And you can hear the bobbin just kind of buzzing on the Lazy Kate. That's what that weird noise is. All right, let's have a look and see how this looks. Oh, it's very pretty. We're starting to get that pearl textured look. Now, I've probably over twisted it a bit in the plying, but that'll settle out in the wash, or at least it should, because it's not that badly over twisted. If this was going, that would be way, way too much. And is a technical term, but it's not. So it is slightly over twisted, which is perfect for what I want. Stuck on our bobbin here. I'm just going to flip it over. Sometimes if it's not coming off the Lazy Kate smoothly, if you just flip it over, it'll sort itself out. There we go. Oh, there we go. We have reached the end. I forgot to put a leader on the end. Oh, that's all right. We got lots of yardage with our hem pull top, so we will let that ply back on itself, and then we will use our body knotty to take it off the wheel. All right, and that's the end. And we're not going to quite make it to tie it, so we're going to just tie around the skein here. And around the skein here. And there is our Mora Wether spun up and ready for wet setting. Very interesting fleece. I'm curious to see how it would take dye as well. So we might try some of that too. All right. We'll see how it looks in the end. Back in a bit. So the results are in. This is Mora's Wether lamb, all processed, spun up, and knit into a swatch. So here we go. Now it got kind of funky. So this is our textured yarn that we spun just from picked locks. I just use small knitting needles on it, so it's very clumped up. But I think if you spun a single from the picked and then plied it with a thread, it would make a lovely textured yarn with a gorgeous halo that's really soft. So next we have our flipped locks. And you can sort of see, I should have done more because I didn't have much in the sampling, but you can see that the resulting yarn has some really nice stitch definition. So it's picked, flicked. These are from Rolex. You can see it's got some of that thick and thin that I always manage to get in my Rolex, especially when I'm having a bad spinning day. But it's soft and fluffy and pretty, and it has a little bit of a gray sheen to it, which I don't hate. I actually quite enjoy. And then lastly, this is our combed top. And again, I was having a bad spinning day, so it's not as even as it should be, but still quite lovely. This has a fair amount of spring to it. And this is a Heinz 57 sheep, so we're not sure entirely what's in here. There's some BFL and Gotland and possibly Dorset, Finn, who knows what all is in here, but mostly BFL, I think. But it does definitely have some characteristics that are very non-BFL. It is lovely though. Let's do the exfoliation test. You can see I did that on another yarn. Actually, most people would find this next to the skin soft. It doesn't like tear apart my neck skin. And you can see it's very pretty. It's got some lovely, lovely stitch definition. And I think it would be quite warm. It does have enough fluff to it to trap the air that I think it would make a fairly warm yarn. Regardless, I had a great deal of fun working with this fleece. I might try up some dye videos later on with this fleece, just because it has that pearly gray overcast to it. I think it would give it some interesting colors. So look for a dye video with this down the line. I wanted to finish doing the processing before I get into the dyeing, but I will probably do that before too long. So if you enjoyed this, do the stuff down below, because I do stuff like this all the time. Thanks for joining me, guys. See you next time. Dr. Chaos out.